Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today we're going to be taking a look at GTX 1070 performance inside of a laptop courtesy of the Acer Predator 17. Ever since Nvidia revealed the full-size desktop GPUs for Pascal being utilized in laptops a few months back, I've been wanting to get one in here to test on the channel, so that is what we are going to be doing here today inside the Acer Predator 17, which is sporting, as well as when the name would suggest, a 17-inch display. It's also 1080p, 75 Hz, and it is IPS with support for G-Sync. So this thing is running G-Sync on its native display right on the laptop here. You could also connect it to an external display which supports G-Sync as well using the included DisplayPort connector. It's also got an HDMI output on here too, so if you wanted to hook it up over HDMI to a different display, a TV, what have you, you can go ahead and do that too. But it really is a nice selling point kind of having the external G-Sync option for those of you out there that are maybe looking to pick this up as a primary use system, but you travel maybe more so than you are stationary. But when you are stationary, maybe back at home, you can go ahead and hook this up to a G-Sync display. Other connectivity here on the Acer Predator 17 includes 4 USB 3 ports, Ethernet, and SD card slot, as well as Thunderbolt support. In addition to the GTX 1070, this laptop is also supporting 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, as well as a 256 gigabyte SSD for the boot drive and a 1 terabyte mechanical drive. And for the processor, it's using the i7 6700HQ, which comes out at 2.6 gigahertz, but actually boosts up to 3.5 gigahertz. Being that it is an HQ variant of the i7 6700, that means we're not going to be able to overclock it, unfortunately. I really wish that we could see, a full-size 6700K or maybe even the newer Kaby Lake 7700K once those become available inside a laptop like this, but this is what we got for now. So we will see in these numbers here, if it's kind of holding us back in some more CPU demanding titles like the likes of Watch Dogs 2, Fallout 4, and Battlefield 1. We're going to be testing in a bunch of newer titles that have come out like over the course of about the last year or so. This laptop, at the time of me recording this video, is available over on Amazon for $1,839, which, while that is a high price, it is certainly coming down in respects to what we saw the last generation. I remember when I looked at the Acer Predator 15 just not too long ago, which was sporting a 980M, those were up around $2,500, and the specs were not much different than what we're looking at here today. So the prices on these gaming laptops have come down quite considerably, but they are still fairly expensive, and it's not something I would really recommend someone to get as a full-fledged gaming device. But if you are someone that kind of travels more than you are at home, then it is a really interesting option to look at, or as a secondary gaming option, or if you need a strong mobile workstation that you'd like to be able to game on as well. When I was out at PAX West earlier this year, having the Acer Predator that I had at the time, the 15-inch one, actually really saved me a lot. I was able to use it to run the TGW podcast, as well as edit videos from the hotel room. This thing is rather heavy. It's coming in at 9.25 pounds, so it's quite hefty, certainly. And when it is closed, the thickness at the largest point is 37 millimeters. So it certainly has some heft to it. If I could give Acer one piece of feedback, I would like to maybe see a slimmer design in the future, maybe a little bit lighter. And the other thing, kind of maybe seeing a full-size desktop CPU, like I mentioned before, but that may limit it, certainly, if they are looking to slim it down. So I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you would prefer to see. Would you rather see them using a full-size desktop CPU or seeing a slimmer design? Personally, I'm the mindset I'd rather have a slim design and stick with the HQ processors, because having a lightweight portable laptop, which is also going to be good on battery life, is going to be very important to me. On this laptop, you can actually go ahead and swap out the disk drive if you want to go ahead and put in another fan, which is actually produced by Cooler Master. I did utilize that in all of my testing here. And for the GPU side of things, I actually never saw it go above 75 degrees Celsius, and it was maintaining a clock speed of 1,850 megahertz, which is consistent with what I actually saw on the desktop GTX 1070 when I was testing it in a desktop. So I didn't see any significant thermal throttling happening here, or any at all, actually, as it wasn't getting anywhere near the threshold where you want the GTX 1070 to be at under 83 degrees Celsius. The highest, like I said, I saw was about 75C here in all of my testing. Unfortunately for the CPU, we actually did see it getting rather toasty toasty. I was playing Watch Dogs 2 for an extended period of time, and I regularly saw it getting up above 90 degrees Celsius, which is consistent with what I've seen in laptops in the past with the processors. They tend to get much warmer than the GPUs. So yeah, it's kind of one of the drawbacks of using a mobile gaming solution like this is you're going to have to deal with some higher temps when it comes to the CPU. But let's go ahead now and dive into the performance for the GTX 1070 here in the Acer Predator 17. We tested a total of 9 games here. We're at 1080p and the Ultra preset. So for all of these games, I just went ahead and used the Ultra preset at 1080p with VSync off for all of our benchmarking needs. And I tested 9 games in total, which I thought would be of interest to you guys out there. The games that I really want to focus on here, where we saw it actually dipping below 60 FPS in the averages, was Watch Dogs 2 and Battlefield 1. With the exception of those two, all of the other games' averages were above 60 frames. But we also did see the minimums coming down quite a bit in more CPU-demanding titles, the likes of Watch Dogs 2, where we saw the minimum at 28 FPS, Fallout 4 was 35 FPS, and Battlefield 1 actually pulled in a respectable 48 FPS. And thanks to the G-Sync display, it really didn't have too much of an impact on my enjoyment of playing these games. The exception maybe being Watch Dogs 2 there, where the frames were actually coming down below 30 frames at times, which was really just for kind of a second, where it was loading in certain elements of the world. I would really start to see the frames drop considerably in a title like that. But still using the 6700 HQ, which should only get up to 3.5 gigahertz, it was still strong enough to be able to power these games at the Ultra preset using the GTX 1070. But while I can play these games at the Ultra presets inside the laptop, I do know that this is holding it back somewhat on the CPU side of things. The GTX 1070, given the chance to operate with a full-fledged desktop CPU, I would expect to see these performance numbers being a fair bit higher than what we're actually seeing here when testing at 1080p in all of these games, but still very playable experiences. So if you are looking to pick up a mobile gaming solution as a secondary gaming device in addition to your desktop, or if you travel more than you are actually at home for your gaming needs, then I don't really have any issues recommending this laptop here. Just be aware of things like it is rather heavy, like I said, and it's kind of bulky too, coming in, like I said, 9.25 pounds, 37 millimeters thick, so it is not lightweight by any means, but it can certainly power all of your gaming needs. They actually sent along a really nice backpack as well, which you can pick up in addition to the laptop. It doesn't come along with it. You have to buy that separately, but it is a really great backpack. I utilized it recently when I went down to South Carolina. I was going to be using that to run TGW on the laptop, but I actually broke my microphone, so I couldn't use the laptop, unfortunately, for that purpose, but I was able to play some games at least while I was on vacation during some of my downtime. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. If you are interested in picking up the Acer Predator 17, I will leave a link over to Amazon down in the description below for you, and I will catch you guys next time. Ta-ra.